Alright, so on Monday we talked about just regular relations and functions. Today we're going to be talking about linear. So relations that have straight lines on a graph are called linear. You can think straight line, linear, kind of sound the same. Linear, line, right? And relations that are not linear are called nonlinear. Nonlinear relations. So if you had an equation like x plus y equals 5, kind of like our bell ringer, it's called a linear equation. And a linear equation has no operations other than addition, subtraction, and multiplication of a variable by a constant. And the variables also must not be multiplied together or appear in the denominator. A linear equation does not contain variables with exponents other than 1. The graph of a linear equation is always a line. Remember, linear and line go together? So, I know that's a lot and it really doesn't make sense probably to you right now. So, I'm going to break it up into 3 characteristics, okay, of linear equations. The first one, you cannot divide by letters. So, no letters in denominator. No letters in denominator. If you see a letter in the denominator, like this, where there's a letter on bottom, that means it's not linear. The second thing that cannot be, if it's a linear equation, is you can't have any letters multiplied together. So no letters multiplied together. So, for example, if you see x, y in an equation where the x and the y are 2 different letters multiplied together, it's not a linear equation. And the last thing, only exponent can be 1. So, exponent of each variable will always have to be 1. So, for example, if you see x squared in there, or even like square root of x, then it's not linear. Alright, we know that x squared can't be because the exponent is what right here? 2. Right? Exponent is 2 right here. What's the exponent right here? Why can this not be linear? Anybody know what the square root is? It's the same thing as raising something to the... Not second power.
Third.
No.
First.
It has to be something with 2 because it's square root, right? Anything, no, the same thing, if you're taking the square root of something, that would be the same thing as raising x to the 1/2 power. For example, type in 16 to the 1/2 power in your calculator. Tell me what you get. 4. Good, because it's the same thing as taking the square root of 16. Do 16, and then this button, and then type in 1 divided by 2. You do 16, and then hit this button, and then the rest is 1 divided by 2. Matt, can you help on the calculator? Yep. So that's why this cannot be linear, because it has an exponent of 1/2 instead of 1. Okay?
So like this?
Yep. Alright. So here's some example of linear equations. Here's some example of nonlinear. Just quickly, let's talk about why this is not linear. Good. It has an exponent of 2. What makes this not linear? Good. The square root. This one? X and y. And this one?
1 over x.
Good. Alright, so again, a linear function, that's in this last blank, is a function with ordered pairs that satisfy a linear equation. Alright, so flip it over. The first 6, all we're going to do is identify whether it's linear or not. If it's not, we'll explain why. If it is, we don't have to explain anything. Yes?
You know I said x on the bottom, but if it's x plus something, is it linear or not?
Not linear because the x is still on bottom. Alright, so number 1, linear or not linear? Alright, good, because there's no letters on the bottom. All the exponents are 1. There's no letters being multiplied together. So yes, this is linear. Why? Good, because x is on the bottom. Or you could say no, because x is in denominator. Either of those would work. But on the quiz Friday, you'll have to explain why it's not linear. So just a quick explanation like this would be fine.
Well, if it can't be divided by, like, a variable, it's not being divided by the variable. It's divided the variable plus 6.
Yes, but the x actually has an exponent of -1. Any letters on bottom has an exponent of -1. Why? Being multiplied together. Good. No, because x, y. You could put that if you wanted to for your explanation. Thank you. Alright, linear or not linear? Good. Anybody else say no? Good. This is linear. Next one? Yes or no? Is that x on the bottom? No. It is not. Next one? Why? Very good. Simple enough? Alright. I think we already kind of reviewed this next part at the beginning of the year, but we're just going to go over it again because this is the first lesson you'll see in Algebra 2 when you move up next year. Okay. So any equation can be written in standard form. I think we've talked about standard form before. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So it's when x and y are on this side, x is listed first. The c just stands for a constant, so just a number without a variable. Okay? And a and b and c are all integers with the greatest common factor of 1. That means that if they all had something in common, then we could take that out. We want it to be in simplest form. Also, 2 more things on standard form, and make sure you write this down because I forgot to put it in your notes. A cannot be negative. So the number beside x cannot be negative. And a cannot be a fraction. So again, the number beside x cannot be negative. It cannot be a fraction. Alright. So looking at number 1, is this in standard form? Why? I'm going to write standard form up here.
Is it because b isn't, there's not a variable by? Because there's an x. X and y aren't on the same side.
Good, Levi, because x and y are not on the same side. Again, x and y have to be on the left side. C has to be on the right side. So we need to subtract 4y. So tell me what we would get on the left side. Very good. It's still positive. You're not changing the 2x. You're just changing the 4y to move it over.
Oh, okay.
Now, is a negative? Is a fraction?
No.
And do 2, 4, and 1 have anything in common that we could take out?
Yes.
So we could take a 2 out of 1? Nope. Alright, so now we just have to identify A, B, and C. So again, A is always the one beside X. So our A is what? Our B is? -4. Very good. C is? Very good. Any questions on that part? Alright. Alright, the next one, what do we need to change? Subtract 2x. So tell me what we would get. Is this in standard form? Why? Good, because A is negative. Our first number is negative. So how do we make this positive? Very good. So tell me what we would get. Very good. Is it in standard form? Yes.
Okay, why did it in the last one, when you subtracted 4x, why did you get 2x and 5x? Under it, when you put 2x.
Very good question. The x always has to come first in standard form. Good question. All right, now is it in standard form?
Yes.
Yes. So A is B and C. Good. Remember, A, B, and C are only the coefficients in front, so you don't have to say 2x.
Are we gonna have to identify the agency?
Any questions on that one? All right, flip it over. We'll do 2 more together. I'll let you pick which one out of 3 through 6.
4.
4 and 6. Okay. All right, on this one, what do we need to do? Good, to get it on the side with y. Tell me what I need to write first.
Negative x plus 1/3 y.
Very good. Good. What do we need to do?
X is
Divide by negative 1.
Good. So we would get,
X minus 1/3 y equals negative 1.
good. Do we need to change these to whole numbers? What's the only thing that cannot be a fraction?
A.
Just A. So A would be what in this case?
X. 1.
1. Good. B?
Negative 1/3.
C? Very good. All right. Any questions? All right. Number 6. What do you want to do first?
Subtraction.
Move 10. All right. So we would get, next.
Add 6.
Good. Next. Very good. Is this in standard form? Is this in standard form?
No.
What do we have to do? What are we missing?
We have to find the greatest from the back.
Good. They all have what in common?
2.
2. So we need to take that out of everything. So we would have what?
4x plus 3y.
Equals. Good. So now A is B, C. Good. And what we could have done is we could have simplified beforehand. Like once we saw that all these have 2 in common, we could have divided by 2 first, or you can do it last. Doesn't matter. You'll get the same thing.
So we can't have a number in common?
Correct. If they all 3 have something in common, you have to take it out. It has to be in simplest form. All right, try 3 and 5 on your own. I'm going to call up 2 people in just a second. Let me know if you have questions, need some help. There's no x, right? So that's coefficient will be what? There's a 1, there should be x. Very good. Now just identify as easy. How'd you get? Oh, never mind. Very good.
If you add 9, that means it has enough to the other side, right? So what would you have over here? You have to go. And then you do that.
Alright, let's go over these together. You might want to help me out with number, what is it? 3.
Yeah.
Alright, Levi. What do I do first?
Oh, okay. Add 9
Okay?
to 0. And then, you get 3x minus 6y equals 9. And then divide by 3. Divide everything up here. And you get 1x minus 2y equals 3. And then just a equals 1, b equals negative 2, and c equals 3.
Very good. Any questions on that one?
Hey.
Do we get points on? We don't simplify.
Yes, because then it's not in standard form. Anybody want to help me with the next one? Brittany?
You add 9 to base 1,
Very good.
and you're going to get 5y equals 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then a is going to equal 0, b equals 5, and c equals 9.
Very good. Any questions on that one? So the only things with A is that it can't be what? Negative and a fraction. So 0 is not negative and it's not a fraction, so it's okay if A equals 0. Any questions about standard form? I think y'all feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on. Now we're going to get into graphing lines, and I think we've done this before also, so this will hopefully be a review. We're graphing it by finding the x and y intercept of each equation. Alright, what is an x-intercept in your own words?
Where x crosses, yeah,
Okay, and a y-intercept?
where it crosses the y.
Alright, I need a volunteer, 2 of them. Alright, flip out. Max, draw an x-intercept. Draw a y-intercept. One here. Thank you. Alright, so let's talk about both of these. This is an x-intercept, crosses the x-axis, and this coordinate point would be what? 3, 0. This one up here is a y-intercept because it crosses the y-axis, and this would be what?
0, 3.
Alright, if I drew another dot on the x-axis, so say if I drew one over here, this would be what?
Negative 2, 0.
And if I drew one down here, this would be what?
Negative 3, 0. I mean, negative 0.
Negative
0, negative 3.
I got to look at I can do it. Alright, what do x-intercepts have in common then, besides the fact that they cross the x-axis?
They're both first.
They're both first. What else? Go ahead, Hattie.
X to y.
Huh?
I'm saying x to y.
I just want you to tell me just a characteristic of the x-intercept, these two, that they have in common, besides the fact that they cross the x-axis.
Their y-intercept is 0.
What now?
Their y-intercept is 0.
Not the y-intercept, the y-coordinate. It is both 0, right? And what do the y-intercepts have in common? The x is 0. Good. On every y-intercept, the x will be 0. On every x-intercept, the y will be 0. So that's how we find it in this equation. So for example, to find the x-intercept, again, y is always what? 0. So let's set y equal to 0 in this equation. Okay? So, and when I say set y to 0, that just means replace y with 0. So instead of writing y equals negative 4x plus 8, I can write what?
0 equals negative 4x plus 8.
Very good. And now we just have to solve for x by doing what? Subtracting what?
8.
Okay, so we would get negative 8 equals negative 4x. Now we divide by,
Negative 4.
and x equals. Good. So the coordinate point for our x-intercept is going to be 2, What?
0.
0, good. The x is 2 right here because we solved it. The y we already set to 0. So here's our x-intercept. Any questions about that part?
Don't you just same for the y?
The y-intercept you set what to 0?
X.
Good. Set x to 0. So tell me how to rewrite it with x being 0.
Y equals -4, 0, plus 8.
And what happens to the -4 times 0? So you just have y equals,
0 plus 8.
which is just 8. And so tell me what that coordinate point would be.
Be
0,
0, 8.
Very good. So now all we have to do is graph both of these points, starting with 2, 0. So that'll be on the x-axis right here. 0, 8 will be way up here.
Now, do we have to like show all that work? Because I know.
If you can do it in your head, you don't have to.
Okay.
The reason I want y'all to, or I suggest showing your work on tests, like if you have the wrong answer and you just did it in your head and you just wrote down like 3, 0, but you did everything right, maybe you just missed a sign, then I can give you half credit, right? But if I don't see any of your work and you have the wrong answer, there's not much I can do for you. Okay? All right, so from here we just connect our dots to draw our line. And that's it. Questions about that one? All right. So the next one, we have to find the x-intercept first, which is setting what to 0?
Oh, wow.
Good. Y equals 0. So tell me how to rewrite it.
2x equals 12.
Very good. We don't even have to write the 3 times 0 because we know it's going to cancel out, right? So x equals,
6,
so this coordinate point would be,
6 6 equals.
very good. And now the y-intercept, we set x to 0, so the equation would be,
Then y equals 12.
so y equals,
And 4.
very good. So my y-intercept,
0, 4.
perfect. Any questions about that? Y'all remember doing this at all?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead and graph it. So the 6 will go on the x-axis because it's the x-intercept. 4 will go on the y-axis because it's the y-intercept. And now all you have to do is connect your dots. Very good. Easy? Yes. Alright, flip it over. You are working these last 3 on your own. And the way I'll do it is I will come check your work when you are done with all 3 of them. If it's all correct, you can pack up. If not, you'll just keep working until you get them right. If you pack up early, that's fine too. Just know you'll get a 0. But you do have to